Hello and welcome everybody to episode 14 of the ModXtra Podcast. I'm Chris, he's Andy, and we're two massive man-children who worship at the Broad Church of Nerddom, who come together every 2 weeks to talk about what nerdy things we've been worshipping. Oh, holy shit, I've just said I'm Chris and he's Andy. I'm Chris, otherwise known online as True Mr. Six, and that guy over there...
Here's Andy, a.k.a. Biff Tannen.
I'm not going to re-record that. We'll keep it.
Are you nailing it as well?
I was so close. Yeah, I realised as I went to say the normal kind of routine line of "I'm Chris," otherwise no, that I'd already just said "I'm Chris and he's Andy."
You're getting there. 14. You'll get it soon.
Yeah, it was close.
We're getting there on that. We're getting there. I say we.
Yes, we are. Well, welcome. 14th episode. We're ticking on nicely, although I don't know if you noticed, mate, our listener count is dropping.
Is it?
Episode by episode.
Oh,
yeah.
Fantastic. Welcome. If you are still here with us, thank you very much.
Yeah, I think we need to maybe accelerate our plans to go audio.
Is it dropping, or is it just getting higher? Our first few episodes getting more?
No.
Oh.
Well, I mean, the 2 episodes where we put porn in the title had a massive viewership.
Well, that's it.
But they only hung around for the first minute and a half until they realised that there was going to be no porn-related conversation going on.
Make this title like Naked Boobies or something.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to have to do, innit? Oh, my phone liked the sound of that.
Yeah, that's the Naked Boobie alarm.
Yeah, episode 8 was titled "I Thought It Was Porn" on Netflix, got 265 views. But they only lasted for about a minute and a half, 2 minutes before they ducked out average view time.
What did they took them 2 minutes though? That's a little bit disappointing. Brain power of someone who's going to listen to us for 2 minutes before they realise that there's no porn.
Well, I would assume that there was a number of people who just enjoyed the sound of our voices, and then once they've got what they needed, went.
Ew. Ew, that's gross.
That is gross. So, but yeah, viewership's dropping, so we might need to accelerate our plans to do so. Although our Twitch channel is slowly but surely, through ad revenue, accruing enough to give us a year's worth of subscription to a podcast host. So if you've not done already, please head on over to twitch.tv/ModXtra without the E and come join us for one of our live streams sometime.
Or if you are listening in the year 2023 and we are on a podcasting service, we did it.
Hey, yeah. Welcome, and we're very glad you're going back through the archive.
People still listen to our old MOD podcasts.
They do, yes, that's true. I've noticed that. In fact, every now and again we get someone who comes along all hardcore and starts literally from episode 1 and smashes the way through, which must be quite the experience.
Over 95 hours worth of old and irrelevant Dice Masters content. That's what they live and breathe for. That's what they live and breathe.
True story. And now we run for a good 90 minutes to 2 hours on these, so we're already at somewhere in the region of, I don't know, 24 to 28 hours worth of movie, TV, computer game, and comic book chat.
Nice. But no one's listening, so
nice.
Yeah, never mind.
No, well, there's about 20 people.
Hi, Teach.
The hardcore, yeah. Hi, Teach.
Hi, Stu.
Stuart's probably around, yeah.
Tell your friends.
Well, here we are again, although we're a little bit out of sync with ourselves right now.
We are, because yesterday we recorded our Ministry of Dice Masters podcast, and today, because I'm on my Holly Bobs next week, we're doing ModXtra.
Yes, yeah, so we're recording a week earlier than usual. So there may well be some stuff goes down in, the next week and a half. Who knows? But if it does, if there's any earth-shattering mega news about an exciting TV show or something, or the MCU or something, Kevin Feige breaks his foot playing with his dogs or something, we'll not be covering it.
So we're going to talk about Back to the Future this episode. So what happens if, like, Marty McFly, Michael J. Fox comes out to be a bit of a Joss Whedon, and we spend like an hour singing his praises? We'll have to pull this episode off quick, won't we?
Well, yeah, I don't know we'll cross that bridge if it comes up, I suppose.
Christopher Lloyd, the new Savile. No.
Oh God! Don't even joke about it.
Jingle,
It'd be
jingle.
heartbreaking.
Jewelry.
I'm already heartbroken enough as it is over some of the folks that have come out of the woodwork to be arseholes.
Yeah, well, a lot of them are. I mean, you can kind of guess that there are some celebrities out there that seem lovely, but in real life, absolute dicks.
Well, yeah, and there's a fine line, I think, sometimes that is often unexplored, whereby we all have had bad bosses. We've all had real dickhead bosses. I know I have. You just got to work in some hardcore sales organization or something to really know what these psychos are like. But there are people around the world who have got these bad bosses who don't have, Warner Brothers press junkets to make their grievances known. And I do wonder sometimes if there's a line between bad bosses and like the really bad folks. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's all relative, isn't it?
Yeah, because there's obviously been some revelations in recent years that are just, there's no words. It's just wrong. And then sometimes I hear stuff and I'm like, well, is that in the same category or is this just a real dickhead of a boss? Now, don't get me wrong. Nobody should have a dickhead of a boss. Bosses should be respectful of their workforces. I'm not saying that for 1 second, but I do wonder, if the fact that it's in movies or sports, it comes out in sports a lot as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, in football, it's kind of expected that the football manager is a bit of a harsh taskmaster.
Yeah, but does that make it any more or any less acceptable?
Well, it's usually acceptable.
Yeah, but is it though? It's not a question for us to solve on MOD
It's not
Extra,
really,
that's
is it?
for sure.
No.
No.
But you are right.
However, if it does turn out that Robert Zemeckis is an awful person, then we might have to reconsider this episode before it goes out.
Yeah, or just heavily edit it so there's just like massive blank sections.
Yeah. Redacted. Well, that was quite a start. Let's lift the mood a little bit, and as always, we like to do this first section just kind of talking about what we've been up to in the last 2 weeks, TV, what films we've watched, what video games we've been playing and stuff. So I'll ask you, my good man, what have you been up to since we last recorded?
Ooh, thank you very much. Well, it has been my birthday this past weekend, and as a result, had a lovely lockdown birthday with some Apex during the day, which was lovely, and a nice big cake. I really like the rainbow cakes from Marks and Spencer's. If anyone's interested,
Noted. Yeah,
they're really nice. I had it last year, and then this year I was like, Tracy, get the rainbow cake again.
Get one of the rainbow cakes.
Well, nice. So I had that, and in the evening we all sat down and we watched Wonder Woman 1984, which I've seen a mixed bag of reviews for.
Yeah,
some love it, some hate it. My personal opinion, I thought it was good. The action is really good. I like the storyline. I like the characters. I like how they managed to bring back Chris Pine's Steve Trevor back into the storyline without. Well, it's superhero land. Everything's a bit weird, but they tied it into the overall story quite well.
There's always ways and means.
Yeah, it's very Quantum Leap. In fact, because it's 80s.
Shh, I've not seen it yet.
Okay,
I'll
give out anyway. Yeah. Because it's 80s style, I wonder if they purposely did that. But yeah, no, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was good. It wasn't mind-blowingly. I didn't go, oh, that was amazing. But I don't need to enjoy a movie. There are a couple of bits which was like elongated, kind of unnecessary, slowy, kind of like trying to make it a bit more kind of deeper and a meaning behind it. Don't think it needed that, but overall it's good, and she is hot, which helps, and a very good actress as well.
I was about to say, I mean, that wasn't a very woke statement. You placed the attractiveness before the talent.
I think it's both relevant.
Once again, another issue that MOD Extra is not going to solve today.
Casting wise, and I think there's a I think there is some kind of documentary about how she ended up being Wonder Woman. I think I've seen advertised, but she is cast perfectly for the role, I think.
Yeah, she is spot on. And to be fair, like the comic book character, there's she's a demigod, Greek goddess style character. They talk about her beauty and her fierce warrior nature in equal measures. So she is you're absolutely right.
Yeah, I think she is to Wonder Woman what am I trying to say? She is to Wonder Woman as Iron Man.
RDJ.
RDJ is to Iron Man. I think she is the the 21st century Wonder Woman, which is cool.
Yeah, she's definitely the character that's come out the other side of the DC movies. Except maybe Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn.
Yeah, Harley Quinn is definitely, and then she's now very much personifies the role, as opposed to say every man and his dog that's been the Joker. Like I could not imagine that they would then divert away from her as Harley Quinn. And similar to that vein, we then, because the kids enjoyed Wonder Woman so much on my birthday on the Sunday night, and because it's the summer holidays, Easter holidays.
Easter, yeah.
Sorry. We then followed up with watching Aquaman, because that is free on Amazon Prime.
I noticed that was on Amazon Prime.
And
I haven't watched it myself yet, though.
I think that he, I can't remember his name. Dude from the beginning of Game of Thrones.
Yeah, he plays Khal Drogo. I've just gone blank on his name as well. Momoa, Jason.
Jason, that's it, Jason.
I think it's Momoa.
Anyway, that's a dead good movie. Really enjoyed that. So did the kids. And he's taken Aquaman to a completely different place. And I saw him being interviewed about that as well, because Aquaman historically is a bit of a clean-cut, cheesy character, with blonde hair and a large, oversized seahorse to ride upon. And
traditionally,
they very much reinvented it for the better. I think he's very good.
Well, there has been a more rough around the edges warrior, Arthur Curry.
Was there?
Yeah, I don't think it's entirely of Jason Momoa's making, to be honest.
Well, in the interview I saw with him, he very much did think it to be.
I'm sure he did.
But yeah, have you seen that Aquaman?
No, I've not seen it.
Really, it surprises me as Mr. DC that you are.
So I don't like Jason Momoa as Aquaman.
Do you not? Watch the movie, you might change your mind.
Well, that's a fair point. No, I'm just cheap. I was waiting for it to become free somewhere.
It's free now.
Yeah, I noticed. I added it to my watch list, but yeah, no other reason than I was just waiting for it to be free.
So we followed up with that. That was very good. I really liked it. In fact, I think I've expressed my beef about this before, in regards to DC and how I like to chop and change things, and then they'll just ditch things halfway through. They obviously had a plan, and that was in place with the Superman, with flipping heck! I need to research.
You are
names.
on fire today.
I'm great with the names, but the actor that played Superman, the British guy with The Witcher.
I'm just gonna let you keep hanging.
Yeah, it's fine. The only name I've got in my head is Brendan Fraser, so I'm going to struggle. But anyway,
Brendan Fraser.
Do you know when you get a name in your head and you can't get rid of it?
Who's never? Are you thinking of Brandon Routh, who played Superman in Superman, whatever it was called, the one from 2011 or something?
No,
Superman Returns.
Really, I'm thinking of Henry Cavill.
Have you just looked it up?
Yeah. So they obviously had a plan with Henry Cavill to start off with, and they brought in Ben Affleck as Batman, which I think is a really cool Batman. And people will say, "Oh, but he's not, he's not the Batman." And it's like, well, you know what? If they actually stuck by him and then did a few with him, maybe he would be. And then bringing all the things together, and they did, in my opinion, Justice League too early. I'd have liked to have seen like an origin movie for the Flash and Cyborg, really build it up like Avengers style, and then hit with the Justice League when you're engaged and I'm engaged with the Aquaman because I've seen the first movie and I've got a bit of a background on him. I know who he is. I like him. Wonder Woman again. She's got a couple of movies now. Personifies the role. And they all then come together, and then you're like, yeah, all these like, I know what you do. You're really hard, and you're really hard. And then like the baddie beats down one of them. You're like, no, wow, how did they do that? And then it develops, and they don't do that well enough, in my humble opinion, because a movie can just be all right and probably still make them millions and millions of dollars.
Well, yeah, that's it, isn't it? Yeah,
but not billions.
I'm not keen. I liked Man of Steel, but broadly speaking, I'm not keen on the aesthetic. I don't like the design work on it.
Batman versus Superman, there's that bit where Batman goes into the warehouse and absolutely batters this whole team of... is that Batman versus Superman?
Yeah, I think it was.
And there's a bit where he punches one in the air and then punches him and his head goes through the ground. And that scene is just like brilliant.
Yeah. It's. I'm not a fan of Zack Snyder particularly.
Ooh, that's a controversial statement.
Yeah. Is it though?
Don't know. But the talking of the aesthetic of the Avengers and all the Marvel movies, which you can see clear as day in the Winter Soldier and Falcon, or Falcon and Winter Soldier, where the images are crisp, they're sharp, it's full of colour. When I watched that, I knew I was watching a Marvel movie, and it looked good. The special effects are on point. I like that. It's a Marvel movie and it looks good. Whereas, I don't like it when it's dark. That was my big, big problem with Suicide Squad, which I thought was a good movie as well. Thought it was a really good movie, but it was just too dark.
That doesn't bother me so much. I suppose I just don't. I think it doesn't feel right. Like Cyborg, I think just looks weird. And I mean, I know he is weird. He's half man, half robot, but it doesn't look right to me. Like the proportions of it, and I don't know, and the Flash's outfit, and I don't know. But I'm not as keen on Zack Snyder anyway.
So anyway, watched Aquaman. Been playing some Apex. I've seriously lost my mojo on it though. Even though I keep playing it, I'm getting slapped left, right, and centre.
Oh dear.
Not getting very far. So that drop and then get punched. Although I've not played with anyone for a while, and I think playing with random people is a chore, because one will run off one way, one will run off the other way. I'm like, what are they doing? And then 3 people will rock up, surround me, kill me. I'm like, okay. Yeah. Or I'll tag on with one, but then we'll get outnumbered 3-2 because the other guys decided to wander off somewhere else, which is weird. And I wonder if it's to do with the challenges, because you've got different challenges to complete. Because today I played a little bit and I had to do 10 games with a Pathfinder, who's one of the characters you can choose. So literally I just was him, dropped, and then I just wanted to die straight away. I just wanted the battle pass point. I wasn't that bothered. So I made a half-assed attempt, and then got splatted. And then bless, one game, the guys like properly teamworked to pick up my banner, whilst the other one stayed at a res station and resed me. And I was like, oh mate, I just want the next game. I've got 2 more to do after this. But then I felt a bit guilty, so kind of tagged along. Got killed in about 5 minutes after that point. So did a bit of Apex, and then last thing I'll talk about was reading. Now, after last episode, when I said I'd finished off Starship Troopers, and then we spoke about Ready Player One, the movie, and it really spurred me on to get back and read the novel for a second time, because it's been a while since I read it, and I wanted to kind of remind myself of the differences, and got well back into it, which is weird for a book that I've already read, but it properly hooked me in. I read it within a matter of days, all the way through, and it's brilliant. If anyone out there hasn't read it and likes reading, it's got the A+ Andy England star of approval, because it's brilliant. It's further different from the movie than I remembered. It's very different. I won't spoil it too much. There's a brilliant bit where it goes into virtual reality version of War Games, the movie, and then he has to reenact it. Basically, it's like a virtual reality where he has to reenact the Matthew Broderick role from the start to the end of the movie as that character, and get the lines right and do the right actions and go the right places. And there's just so much detail in the book about the 80s, and I very much enjoyed that book. So if you are looking for a good read, then check it out. It is completely different for the movie, so you can watch the movie and read the book, and one doesn't spoil the other, although it's loosely based on the same theme.
You really are a man out of time, aren't you?
I am. I like the book goes into a lot what we were saying about the movie. That's the thing, actually. To go back to last episode, we talked about the movie and how it felt rushed. I don't think there is a reason actually why it should feel rushed, because it's not the same as the book. So it was rewritten they completely rewrote it for the movie, and the writer of the book was heavily involved in it. But it shouldn't be rushed. Though they shouldn't make it feel rushed, because it wasn't the same story. It's not like Harry Potter is the same story. Each is the book. There's no deviation from the storyline, although they might add little bits in or add special effects, whatever. But that's the story. Like, this is completely different. There's no same. Like, they end up somewhere else. It's. I'm trying to not ruin anything, but there's no reason why it to feel rushed, because the challenges are different. There's a lot more in the book about the backstory of how the world has gone right down the toilet, and it kind of makes more sense to why they're doing what they're doing. But yeah, the only thing I can think of is that they had to try and fit in 3 challenges into a movie. But
I can't comment. I just my observation, as I expressed last episode, that it felt like they were rushing it.
And you're right. You are right. But also in the book, they have a challenge to get a key. Then they open a gate, and then there's a challenge in the gate. So it's not just challenge key, win. It's challenge key, open gate, challenge, riddle to find the next key. So it properly, it's a lot longer in the book. Anyway, so I very much enjoyed that book, which surprised me because I've read it before. So it looks like it's going to go on the very short list of books that I like to read over and over again. And that I think is me waffling on for far too long. So over to you.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll start with a couple of movies that I've watched recently. I checked out the new Tom Hanks film on Netflix called News of the World. It's a Western, which was all right.
All right.
Yeah, just all right. I mean, Tom Hanks is great in everything he does. He's Tom Hanks. And it was an interesting storyline. It was actually, plot-wise, basically The Mandalorian.
Really?
Yeah,
baby. Is he protected?
In a weird way. Well, she's a bit more grown up, the girl. She's a young teenager, but yeah, it had a funny pace to it that I couldn't quite put my head around.
Is it like Western Leon?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, nothing of the sort. Nothing of the sort. So that was that.
Good movie, isn't it, Leon?
Leon's a great film.
Add that to the list.
Although if we're talking about dodgy Hollywood arseholes, then I believe the director of that, Luke Besson's, had some trouble.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Then I finally got round to Spider-Man Far From Home.
Fuck off.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it took me a while, but I watched it the other day.
Really? What? Like 2 years after it come out?
Yeah, something like that.
Call yourself
2 years?
Superhero fan.
Yeah, just, again, waiting for it to be cheap.
I fully endorse that, but it's been out for a while, hasn't it? On the freebies on the Disney Plus.
Yeah, I was in no rush.
That's a great movie.
It was all right.
It was all right.
I'm finding the Marvel films are getting a bit formulaic for me now, like a little repetitive.
No.
Yeah. I half expected you to go no again, like, let's see how long we can take that for.
No.
Yeah, they're just a bit formulaic. I like Jake Gyllenhaal well enough. And I like little Tom Holland. He seems alright. Yeah. But, I don't know, it just felt... It's... In the wider context of the MCU, it's just a bit of filler, isn't it?
That's brilliant.
No, I wouldn't go so far as to say brilliant.
Movie.
I think brilliant is too high a praise for it. I think, all right, it's about right.
Do you? Oh, no, I think it's one of the better ones.
Yeah. Once again, though, Mysterio turning up. I knew he was a bad guy from the moment he set foot on the screen.
Well, I think most people did, even with my very meager knowledge of superheroes, I knew that Mysterio was a baddie.
Yeah.
But I think they played on the fact that everyone knew he was.
Well, maybe, but I still think it's just high all right.
Yeah, all right. Well, all right's not bad.
Yeah. They're just, like I said, they're starting to feel a bit formulaic for me, like they're just going through the motion with it sometimes. And because it looks great and the action's spectacular, which I can't deny that, it's great to watch from that perspective. But I feel like the formula sitting underneath it's just getting a little. I think that's why Endgame and Infinity War were so good, because they kind of took it in a bit of a different direction and really did go epic.
They are epic.
Yeah. So that's a couple of movies that I've watched. I've been catching up on a bit of telly. So I watched a couple of episodes of Nick Cage's History of Swear Words.
Sounds fun.
Yeah, it's on Netflix, man. You should check it out. It is fun. It's daft. It's stupid. It's actually quite highbrow. There's some great information in there. I don't know if it's as laugh out loud funny as some people have made it out to be. It was certainly sold to me as laugh out loud funny, and I don't think it was. But I enjoyed it nonetheless. I like the angle they took on it, and it was really interesting and had a light-hearted edge to it. So I'd recommend that one. The like half-an-hour episodes is nice. A nice length as a bit of, I don't know, lightweight entertainment. So that was pretty cool. And then I watched the 3rd episode of Falcon and the Winter Soldier and the 4th episode of Invincible.
Ooh, I've not seen the 3rd episode of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and by the time this comes out, there'll be the 4th as well.
Yeah. All right, I'll keep that one spoiler free then. But I'm finding it's got a bit of an odd pace still.
With his squishy face.
So he is in the 3rd episode a little bit, but I looked after your observations about the squishy face, but they didn't really stand out to me particularly. However, you don't see him without his helmet on at all through the 3rd episode. So. But I'll tell you one thing I did hear. I was watching a YouTube video of one of these sort of TV review programs that I like, and they just mentioned something in passing where they said that the Falcon and the Winter Soldier has reportedly had a whole plot line cut from it.
Really?
And they brought all the actors in for a couple of reshoots and to do overdubs. And I think that might explain why the pacing feels odd.
Okay.
But I've not gone on to I keep meaning to Google it. I've not gone on to research further what it is, but it's something to do with a pandemic related storyline, and they've removed it because Disney don't want to be insensitive about the real pandemic, which they obviously didn't anticipate at the time of filming the show. Yeah, it does make sense, but I do wonder if some of the bits that don't quite feel right or feel paced funny are as a result of cutting little sections out or references to things or an overdub going in, or that there's maybe little bits of overall pacing in an episode that have disappeared because this subplot line has been removed.
Maybe.
Possibly. I don't know. It was just something I heard. And I thought, oh, that's interesting. That might go some way to explain it. But I still maintain, I said this last episode, I've also got a funny feeling that drip feeding it week by week is not doing this show any favours.
I'm going to sit down and binge it.
Yeah, I don't think it's doing the show any favours. I think, they're rounding about doing interviews saying, oh, it's like a 6-hour movie. And I'm like, well, if it's a 6-hour movie, then give me the fucking episodes to watch like a movie then. If they've made it that way, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't think it's doing it. I think the pacing's not helped by the week-long wait in between, whereas WandaVision, I could handle the week-long wait. But WandaVision was all about being a TV show. In fact, it even riffed off the fact that it was a TV show. Whereas I think Falcon and the Winter Soldier has been filmed to feel like an MCU movie, and so doesn't feel right as a TV show. And I don't think it's doing itself any favours by then making us wait a week for the next instalment.
We'll wait and see. I'm sure that we can see through it, and then I don't know. I've enjoyed it so far. I could imagine that I might sit down and just binge the whole lot when I'm bored one day.
Yeah. The 3rd episode I've got a couple of issues with as well, and you'll know the minute the 2 specific things I'm thinking of happen, you'll know, and you'll know why, because I've expressed this problem before. But I won't say anything further than that because you've not seen it yet.
Yeah. Also, like I always like that. Do you know when something comes out and you really want to watch it, and you just like, and you phone in sick at work, and just like, I'm going to spend the day watching that. That was like The Boys. I think I did that for The Boys when The Boys come out, and I just waited for it all to finish, and then it was like, bollocks, I ain't going to work today. And then just sat on the sofa and just binged that like the whole day. You can only do that when you've got them all.
That's also true.
So you either got to like stop yourself from watching them to wait till you can binge them all at once, or go through the drip feed bonanza, or like we've done, me and my wife done with Snowpiercers. We've kind of half done it, so we never binge watch stuff anyway. We watch like 2 or 3 episodes like in a sitting. So we started off quite well, and then we got to the point where there wasn't another one. It's like, oh, hold on, we were quite happy binging through these, and now we can't for a week.
Yeah.
Well, you suck. We should have held off for a little bit.
That's like the worst moment when you catch up and you realise.
Yeah. Coming next Wednesday. It's like, you fucking bastard.
Anyway, and on the console, I downloaded the new game Outriders.
Oh, yeah? Any good?
Yeah, I don't know if it's any good or not yet. I think... So when it comes to computer games, and I know I'm in the minority here, I don't like games that have a long lead-in, where it's a big, long tutorial and it's wrapped up into a storyline. There's lots of cutscenes and stuff. I'm not interested in that. I'm a wham bam, thank you ma'am kind of guy when it comes to video gaming.
Right.
I don't like long tutorials. And I'm in a section at the early part of the game where I played it for maybe an hour and a half the other night, and I'm still not into... Like the main event that kicks off the real game has only just happened.
Yeah,
so
you want to get into it quick.
Yeah, so I'm not a fan of that. So that's put me off a little bit. Also, it crashes a lot.
That is a bad sign in a game.
Yeah, it is. I entirely agree. And just shuts down and sends me right out to main menu. And it's in that hour and a half sitting, it did it 3 times to me, which, is not good at all. I wonder if it's because I'm playing it on an Xbox One and it's been built and designed to go on the next gen, maybe. I don't know. I've not done any further research than that. I just went, oh, for fuck's sake, and went and did something else instead. You know what I mean? So I'll give it another little... It's got a bit of a Gears of Warsy feel to it.
Oh, that's good.
It's like a third-person shooter, and you're kind of dropping behind cover. And the mechanics of that feel a bit Gears of Warsy, so I like that. But there's a funny sensitivity to it that of the shooting that I can't quite get my head round. And that might be a settings thing. But, I'd maybe be able to speak to that more had it not crashed 3 times on me and I rage quit. You know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean.
So, and that's me, I think. Other than posted a new video on our YouTube channel today. I did an unboxing of a Marvel animated resin statue that I picked up for cheap on eBay.
I saw that come up on my feed.
Yeah, it's the Mighty Thor, but it's an interesting watch. There's a bit of a twist at the end.
Oh, is it like The Sixth Sense?
Less predictable than that.
Oh, cool. Would you drop it and break it?
Yes.
You do, yeah. You bell end.
I did. His arms come off.
Get your super glue out.
Yeah, that's exactly what I said in the video. I'm off to the shop to get some Loctite now, I think.
That's brilliant.
How I finished it up. Yeah. But still, go take a look if you're interested in. I put it in the comic book corner because it's a superhero figure of the Mighty Thor. It's a Scotty Young piece, who's an artist very well known for his. He does like these sort of child interpretations of... Oh, you'll have seen some of his artwork actually. So he's a couple of the Dice Master card, the Rocket and Groot that's on the promo set.
Oh yeah,
is his stuff.
Oh nice.
Yeah, very distinctive artist, and they've made some little mini animated statues. So if you're a toy fan, nerdy toy fan like me, then go check that out.
I'm surprised you got that, considering you're not really a comic book fan.
I like little twists, interesting twists. There's the first one I picked up was a Punisher, and it looks like a Peanuts character.
That's
and it just entertains me that it's like this really ultra-violent, dark character, mocked up like a Peanuts character. It just entertains me.
Nice. Cool. Right. Wow. What are we talking about today?
Okay, well, we have Andy's Retro Movie Corner, and the film of the and the film to be discussed today is the classic Back to the Future. And in the comic book corner, we're taking a look at the Death of Superman collection from the mid-90s.
Ooh. I think we should.
I was expecting you to jump in then. I went all quiet thinking you were about to.
Hello. Well, I think that we should crack on and get this party started.
We absolutely should. That's a massive intro. So let's. Which one should we do first?
What did we do first last time? I think we did comic book first.
Yeah, we did the comic book first last time, I think.
Let's get back to the future.
Okay, off we go then. Okay, well, welcome back then, folks. It's Andy's Retro Movie Corner. I'll hand you over to the man himself to get us started.
Great Scott!
Marty!
So, today we bring you a classic, an absolute classic, one of my favourite movies of all time. We will find out if it's one of Chris's favourites of all time. But Back to the Future. Let me, as if you didn't already know, but I'll give you the back of the box anyway, so as soon as it loads up. So, the back of the box. Wow, Now TV have assumed that we've already watched it already by the look of this description. Iconic time travel fun as teen Michael J. Fox, with the aid of eccentric scientist Christopher Lloyd, zaps back to 1955 to ensure his parents meet. It's not actually that accurate.
A bit more to it than that, yeah.
So, my synopsis of the movie is he goes back in time, he ballses up his parents' meeting, he manages to write that, and then get back to the future. Didn't even take that much longer to say.
No. And then we'll send you back to the future.
I can remember when this first came out in the cinema, and like we just didn't get it. The title was like, how do you go back to the future? That doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense at all. How do you can't go back to the future? And then obviously it does make sense when you actually watch the movie.
See the film.
Yeah, but I remember that, which people just won't get now because they already know, because it's such an iconic movie. So, where do we start? I will start with my little synopsis of different things we see. So, I'm going to assume, dear listener, that you have seen the movie probably more than once. So, my review today, which was just to look a little bit closer. To see what kind of things, maybe just go over my head, because, I'm engrossed in the movie and I'm enjoying the movie and it's a brilliant movie and I love the storyline. So I don't really pick up on stuff. And there's a few things that I picked up on. The first subtitle of this essay on Back to the Future is repetition.
Yeah.
Oh, my word. I think every line is said more than once by a different character.
Really?
Well, maybe not. I'm exaggerating slightly, but there is a lot of repetition in the movie.
I did not notice that.
And it's little things like, there's stuff that you see because it's in different movies, like the whole skateboard thing from Back to the Future 1, Back to the Future 2. But there's things like the Battle of the Bands, and she goes, you should give, they do the Battle of the Bands, and they don't get anywhere because randomly the bands are being judged by 4 kind of brown suit wearing, glasses wearing squares, and they say no, it's too loud, even though that the queue of band behind them
there's like a hair metal rock band,
are all 80s like rock bands. It's like, well, they're probably the looking at the get up of the other guys, they're probably the softest you're going to get coming. And he's like, well, I don't know if I can handle the rejection. There's more to that. Actually, there's a few kind of lines, and then when he's talking to his dad about going and asking out his mum, he's like, oh, I don't know if I can handle the rejection. And there's just loads of little bits in that I noticed, which I thought was
that's interesting.
Quite interesting and fitting with a movie that's about going back in time.
Yeah. I mean, certainly some of the repetition that I'm aware of, I wasn't as aware of it as you've just pointed out, but there's certainly stuff like they have the the mayoral van in 1985 going around the square. And then when you're in 1955, you've got the same thing going on, but with the previous mayor that he's trying to win the election against in what is the movie's present day. So some of it is like little motifs that are done intentionally, or like the hello, and like the habits and routines of the characters.
Yeah, and his dad's laugh. I watching the movie back again. I think his dad, who was the one that asked, the dad, basically the actor who played the dad, asked for more money for the second movie, and they weren't prepared to give it to him.
Yeah, I heard that. Crispin Glover.
I didn't actually rate his acting.
Oh, really? No, he's suitably nerdy. Come on.
I don't know. It just felt a little bit, as opposed to the others, which are all kind of very, quite. I don't know. There was something a bit, and I suppose he's either very good acting or very bad acting. But I don't know. He was not missed in Back to the Future 2 or 3, which goes to show kind of something about his character. A minor point, though. So that was 2. There was another point, but I've forgotten it. So whilst I remember it, what were your initial thoughts?
What were my initial thoughts?
Yeah.
I said this to you before we started recording. I am of the opinion that Back to the Future is a near perfect movie. It is so well put together, so entertaining, and so well constructed that you really would have to nitpick to find any real faults.
Yeah.
I think there's been some new readings of the film in modern times that I can see now. I'm older and I've watched it again, as a dad at the grand old age of 40 kind of thing. But overall, every aspect of it is so well put together. The script, the direction, the performances, it is just perfect.
Wow. That's praise. I think that's one of the first movies I've picked that you liked.
I think it's brilliant. I mean, there's obviously there's the icky stuff about his mum.
Yeah.
That there's all a bit Oedipus going on, and you're a bit like, oh, which it doesn't sit right, but it's not supposed to sit right, is it? I suppose that's that's the thing. But little things like Biff with the mum in the car at the dance is, basically sexual assault.
Yeah, that goes like, oh.
And some of the the racial equality stuff, like one of the kids says, "Hold on, man, I don't want to get beaten up by a load of reefer addicts," and stuff like that. Or there'll never be a coloured mayor and all that. And it's just like a bit, that's just perhaps now with new eyes in the modern age, just a little bit glossy, a bit superficial around the issues, of the time. But putting that to one side, I suppose, although maybe you shouldn't put it to one side.
I was on the impression that back in the 80s, they were referring back to the 50s and the racism that is now better in the 80s. It's like, proper racist in the 50s, not like in the 80s. Whereas, in actual fact, it's maybe not as big a problem as the 50s, but still a massive problem in the 80s and still a massive problem now.
Yeah, sure. I think it just stood out more.
Yeah.
When like 7-year-old Chris watched this or whatever, that didn't really go in, but Biff in the car and some of that stuff stood out more in my older age as a watch. One thing I did notice, I think I've said this to you before actually. So I bought the Back to the Future trilogy on Blu-ray, and I don't know if it's because it's all been upscaled to high definition. Some of the special effects don't stand up.
I can see that. Certainly the flames on the ground look, at the
some
time,
of the superimposure,
they were like flames on the ground. And when you look back at it, it's actually, no, those are superimposed flames onto a pavement.
Yeah, some of that didn't quite stand up. And some of the moments when Doc Brown is, up on the clock tower, you could tell they're on a set now, which I'd never really noticed before.
That's funny because I like it. It immerses you to the point where I didn't like. I only watched it a few hours ago. I wouldn't have noticed that, but it's because you are like the music, and you've got him. Like you've got Marty trying to get his car to start, and then you've got Doc Brown trying to plug it in. Because the storyline is so like edge of the seaty, I didn't notice that.
Yeah, I entirely agree. I think I only noticed it because, like yourself, I was intentionally sort of watching it. I was looking for funny stuff to talk about on the podcast, basically. But yeah, I think it's overall it is an exceptional film. Here's a little factoid for you actually that I picked up over the years. Did you know that it was originally Eric Stoltz in the role of Marty McFly?
I did. That would have been a weird movie, I think.
Yeah, and they did about a good month of filming with him before Robert Zemeckis said it's not working. We're getting Michael J. Fox in.
That's cool. Did you, another little fact that the Hill Valley town centre is the same town centre as Gremlins.
Do you know what? I'd forgotten that, but I did know that, and it doesn't surprise me.
And they filmed it at the same time.
No, at the same time.
Well, not exactly the same time, but over the same time frame, as in like the guys doing Gremlins. I saw a thing about how they went and they got Michael J. Fox's autograph because maybe they were just finishing up and then they were moving on, or I don't know if it was like different times of the day or they just finished and were finishing off and they were coming in, but it's exactly the same set of a town.
But I had read that, I think, but I'd forgotten about it.
And you can tell it's quite weird. If you've got the hankering for watching Gremlins, have the fact that it's Hill Valley in the back of your mind, and it puts the story in a little different perspective. You think, oh,
yeah,
where's Biff? You can see what Biff with a gremlin.
See what Biff's up to. Yeah. Well, there you go. Little factoids, little known facts for the listeners there. Just spitting out the facts. Yeah,
just the facts, man.
Other than that, other than the little factoids, the one thing that does I've often thought about over the years is the whole timey-wimey aspect of it all and the time paradoxes. I don't think you're supposed to stop and really think about that too much.
No, I mean that's more of a Big Bang Theory type conversation between Sheldon and the others about
Absolutely, but I was thinking about it a little bit today, and I was like, well, wait, hang on a minute. And then I thought, no, what you're doing, that way madness lies. You'll just break yourself trying to figure that out. But I do think they tie it up quite well in the way the script is put together, how that timey-wimey stuff eventually adds up. Although I'd find it hard to believe that nobody would say to Marty, like the dad wouldn't say, love, this lad looks a lot like that Calvin Klein kid we knew back at school. Is there something you want to tell me? You know what I mean? I find that hard to believe, but again, that's just applying too much logic to something that doesn't need logic because it is utter escapist fantasy of the highest order.
So that leads on to the final point that I have, which is that what it does very well over the first movie and second and third is, in essence, it's quite a complicated storyline if you think about it. He goes into the past, disrupts his family, can't get back, and then if you go through the whole timeline, and then he eventually comes back and gets dragged to the future because something goes on there, but then he comes back, but something's changed in the future. It means that his reality is different, which means that he's got to go back to correct something, to then go forward again, and then go all the way back to get Doc because he's about to die. And not once in the film do you feel confused.
No, you don't question it at all.
They could quite easily have overcomplicated that to the point where you're just like, hold on, I'm not quite there. The only bit where you kind of get that is when you're meant to, is when he goes back to 1985 and it's different. And you're meant to be like, hold on, this isn't right, but I'm not sure what's going on, because also the character's thinking the same thing. But other than that, you know what's going on, which I think is very, very clever, because I've seen enough movies, and I think that the ultimate test is the mother-in-law test. And for my mother-in-law, there is a threat in our family, is that if you do something too bad, we will make you sit down and watch The Matrix with my mother-in-law. Because she won't get it, and she'll annoy the hell out of you by asking you every single second what the hell's going on. And I'm pretty sure that it would pass the mother-in-law testers, and that it spoon feeds it to you. Not only is it spoon feed to you, it's a brilliant movie, massively engaging. It's also completely, what's the word I'm looking for? It is attractive to everyone. My kids sat down and watched it with me. I could have sat down and watched it with a toddler. There's nothing offensive there. There's nothing that I had to worry about, like, you know, when I watched Terminator 2 with my kid and I had to tell him to shut his eyes and so there's nothing there that, you know, so it's open to everyone. It's a completely devoid of anything horrible. So, you know, and it's attractive to everyone. So, like, you know, old people enjoy it. You know, your grandparents, parents, kids can like all enjoy the movie, understand it, and I think that is very clever for a time travel movie, or one of the first time travel movies as well.
Every layer of it is so well put together, and it's the attention to detail around that time travel stuff is so incredibly well done. Like he knocks over one of the two trees at the front of the farm, and then the sign, when he goes back to the present day, has changed. It's not called Twin Pines anymore. It's just called Single Pine or something.
Lone
It was,
Pine.
you know, Lone Pine. That's it. And it's like just the thought and the attention to detail that has gone into that is just second to none.
Yeah,
just second to none. And I noticed loads of little kind of little snippets like that throughout the film. And because I'm so familiar with 2 and 3, I've also noticed it, you know, into the whole trilogy as well. It's just outstanding.
I was lucky enough to go on the Back to the Future ride in Universal Studios in Florida, and that was amazing.
The soundtrack. I mean, come on.
Yeah,
everything. Just
is that a John Williams one, or is it?
No, it's not.
The other dude, the guy that did Avengers. There's two. Like, if you know, there's two composers that kind of cover the great movies. And if it's not John Williams, he's got a bit of a funny sounding name. Alan Silvestri.
It is Silvestri, yes.
Yeah, and he's done so many good soundtracks. He's like that. He's like John Williams, but not.
Unless we not forget the Huey Lewis and the News.
How could you forget that?
You know, I mean, Alan Silvestri did a great job and everything, but come on. Huey Lewis and the News. Power of Love. What a tune.
See, that was, they went to him and they said, we want you to do a song for our movie. And he's like, I don't really do movies. I don't really want to write one about a movie called Back to the Future. And they're like, oh no, we don't bother. Just whatever you've got coming out next, we'll just have it. And he was like, yeah, all right. And didn't realise.
He did do Back in Time, didn't he? Back in Time.
Bum, bum, bum. But yeah, Power and Love was just his next one that was releasing.
Yeah.
There's different radio stations on the iMusic player thing. And there's one that he hosts, and it's like a bit of a podcast, I suppose. It's already pre-recorded stuff that you can listen to as episode 1, episode 2, but it's dubbed as like his 80s radio station. And that's good. I enjoy that. Shock, I know that I would enjoy.
Yeah. But, stop the presses, everybody. Andy likes an 80s thing.
But don't ask me about the new Bruno Mars song, but give me a bit of the Bangles any day.
We've not talked about that on the podcast, have we?
I'm not sure if we have. No, I think we spoke to TJ about it.
What did I say 2 or 3 weeks ago? That is going to be a big, big tune. And it is a big, big tune. It's everywhere.
Is it? You said it was everywhere at the time.
Well, I called it. It's all over the place, man.
Where?
Massive tune. Well, you don't go anywhere. That's why you're not.
It's not in my house or the Aldi down the road.
Well, that is because Aldi doesn't have any music playing, and in your house, you're listening to the Huey Lewis and the News 80s radio station.
True story.
I don't. What else is there to say about Back to the Future? I'd be very surprised if anyone listening to us right now hasn't seen it and doesn't love it. It is just, on every level, a big tick in the box.
Here's a question.
Ooh,
we live in a world of remakes.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think anyone would have the balls to remake Back to the Future 1, 2, and 3?
Jesus,
or some form of spin-off? Like,
I hope not. I'd like to say no. I think some things are literally untouchable, and Back to the Future would be one of them. But I just have no faith that that would be the case.
No, I'm the same because Ghostbusters. I put Ghostbusters very much in the vein of untouchable. Yet they remade it with the girl Ghostbusters, which I don't know if I said this last time. I think is a very good movie.
I've not seen it.
It doesn't touch the sides to the original Ghostbusters, and in many ways Ghostbusters 2. But put that aside, it is a good movie. However, you sent me the link to the trailer of the much delayed Ghostbusters new one, which I think is due out like late this year or even maybe next year with Paul Rudd.
Yeah.
And every indication that I've seen from all the trailers and the snippets is that is going to be immense.
Yeah.
Like a lot of detail, even down to just like the little sound clippets. Like you've got the little 2 notes off a piano that Venkman did when he goes into Dana's thing as part of the kind of score for the trailer. And it's just, I have high hopes, which will only be dashed, I'm sure.
About to say, we're talking Phantom Menace AVP time here, folks.
Yeah.
It's going to be Terminator Salvation all over again.
But it's got Paul Rudd in. That is a big plus.
Yeah, he always
if anyone
puts
can,
on a good show.
Drag it into a quality movie, he can. But
maybe we should do a remake special.
That's a good idea. Very good idea. I've got high hopes for that Ghostbusters, though. I think it's going to be immense.
I hope so. But it does speak to a larger issue of Hollywood being utterly devoid of originality sometimes.
Yeah,
the Hollywood machine is just mining the depths of historical licenses that they possess in order to make money. And one would hope, fingers crossed, that Back to the Future would be considered. You can't touch
untouchable.
This. Yeah, because it works as even the fact that it's the starting point is set in 1985. Even with modern eyes, you can watch that as like a period piece in its own right, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I think it stands up to date as well as a lot of other movies.
Yeah, you watch it on the understanding that it's set in the mid-80s because it's a time travel movie, so it's allowed to just start when it starts.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the only thing it falls down is when it goes forward in time to 2018 or whatever, 2015, and we don't have flying cars or bad holographic jaws from the cinema. But yeah, like it's definitely like holds its own against the kind of modern movies, which is good. I've got a question. If they were to remake the movie, who would you cast? So you were put in this position. Mr. Williams, when we're remaking Back to the Future, you can't talk us out of it, but we would like you to cast Marty and Doc Brown.
I wouldn't touch it. Wouldn't go near it.
You have to. We've got a gun.
I'd leave the meeting.
We've got a gun to the head of your family.
You'll have to kill him. It's untouchable. What you doing, you madman?
You have to. I mean? You've got no choice. You need to cast them. Who would you cast?
I couldn't answer that on the spot right now. That's just not possible. You'd have to give me at least 6 months to.
I'm really sorry. We're on a tight schedule here.
Well, I'm going to have to do much more extensive research. I can't answer that right here, right now. That's just not possible.
Oh,
you can't do it. I mean, who could possibly do the Michael J. Fox role? Seriously.
I'm going to throw a name out here. It's not going to be popular. Shia LaBeouf.
What, as Doc Brown?
No, it's Marty McFly.
No, I don't see it. It's too old for a start.
Okay, a younger version. We got a time machine. It's fine. It's in the movie.
It's in a DeLorean.
We just pick him out of Transformers and throw him into Back to the Future.
I'm simply refusing to answer. That's not a conversation that should be entertained anywhere.
Listeners, back me up. Who would you cast? You can have a bit more time to have a think and let us know. Please.
Madness. Utter madness.
Who would you do, though? Who would you cast as Doc Brown, eh?
No idea. Me.
Well, you got the hair for it.
I'll do it. I do. It's true. Nobody. I told you, this is not a conversation we should be entertaining. It's not even something we should be putting out into the public consciousness.
I don't know. Well, we'll wait and see.
It'd be a betrayal of perfection.
It would be horrific, but I don't think we could put it past Hollywood to have a go.
No, that's going back to my earlier statement, I'd like to say no, but I have no faith.
Or if they just did like an up-to-date version, or they did Back to the Future 4, I think I could live with that.
No, there's too much of that going on at the minute too. It's just too much. It's too much.
Just have like
2
hours.
Well, you've put such a negative dampener on the Back to the Future segment experience for me now.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're
making these horrible thoughts enter my head of spin-offs and remakes.
2 hours of Michael J. Fox and Christopher Lloyd sat watching the telly, having a cup of tea, maybe a spot of lunch.
Yeah, I'll take that.
Yeah, I'll do that.
That'll probably be quite entertaining. Bit of bants between them. All right, let's wrap this one up with vamping.
We are.
So let us know in the comments below, folks, what your thoughts and feelings on Back to the Future. Do you agree? Does it stand up? Is it near perfect, as I've contended today? Are there more issues with it than we're able to see through our blind love of the movie? Or are you right there with us? Let us know.
All right, I need to pick a movie.
Yes, go on then.
And I'm going to have a little search. I've got a couple in mind. I want to see if we can actually get them or not before I go into it. You know, these. Okay, so that's fine. That's rentable from Amazon. But this one, I've not seen this for ages, and it's Maze Balls. Oh, and that is okay. That is also available. Okay, so I think we're going to stay on the theme of absolute classic movies.
Okay,
let's not dip our toe into some Starship Troopers or some of the other wank ones that we've done. Let's stay with the big boys. And there is not many that is bigger than Pulp Fiction.
Oh, my word. Everybody be cool. This is a robbery.
If any of you fucking pigs move. Sounds like Miss Piggy.
I'll execute every motherfucking last one of you. All right, Pulp Fiction it is then. Bit of Quentin Tarantino. Eric Stoltz is in that.
He is. He was nearly in Back to the Future, you know.
Yeah, I heard. Yes, welcome back then, folks, and it's over to me now to take the lead on Chris's Comic Book Corner. In our last episode, I challenged Andy to read the Death of Superman collection. I'll give you the back of the book blurb, although it doesn't mess around, this blurb. You know, we were just saying, like, Back to the Future's a bit thin on the ground. Wait till you hear this. The story that drew national media attention when DC Comics killed their greatest hero is collected here. When a hulking monster emerges from an underground resting place and begins a mindless rampage, the Justice League is quickly called in to stop the colossal force of nature. But it soon becomes apparent that only Superman can stand against the monstrosity that has been nicknamed Doomsday. Battling their way throughout America, the two fight to a standstill as they reach the heart of Metropolis. Going punch for punch, Superman finally ends the threat of Doomsday as he throws one last punch and collapses forever. So, no need to read it now, really.
No, that sums it up.
That is insane. And that's the blurb on the back of the collection. I can't get my head around that.
That is it in a nutshell.
Yeah. No need to read it now. Unless you want to appreciate the artwork, of course.
Of course. And there are some good bits of artwork in there.
Ooh. That's a curious statement. So, Andy, you are the comic book novice, who we defer to to gather initial opinions. So, tell us a little bit about your thoughts of the Death of Superman collection.
Okay, well, it's one long action sequence. If you look at it on movie terms, I like akin it to like a Mission Impossible movie. There's not really any downtime. It is just the boss battle at the end of a movie. It's all action all the time. I was surprised and happy to see the inclusion of the Justice League because I'd met them already. I kind of knew most of them from a previous comic book corner, so that was cool to see them back and then see them getting pasted. That was also
they do get pasted as well, absolutely battered.
Yeah, that irritating Blue Beetle chap getting his face smashed in was fun.
Oh no!
Oh.
Don't speak ill of Ted Cord.
Sorry, and I think it worked to highlight how hard this Doomsday dude is, because he just battered all of them like they were nothing. This is one where similar to the other superhero ones we've done, which is a collection within a wider, constantly running, by the signs of it, kind of story arc. So there's no kind of opening or backstory or origins to any of the characters. You just know who they are. With this collection, it kind of worked. Firstly, because I read that Justice League one before, so there wasn't really any like "who's that" moments.
Yeah,
Or there
might have been one or two.
There
like
were a few.
Bloodwind, Fire and Ice. I don't think we're in the Justice League.
They weren't in the Justice League, but they were in the book. They weren't. They were kind of wanting to become members.
Maxima as well, I don't think would have been.
No, but I knew kind of enough to not be like, no, there's a big collection of oddballs. And Bloodwind, from the sounds of it, was quite new and no one really knew about him, so that kind of worked. Because they're like, who is he? Or actually, that's who he is, but doesn't show you. So that worked. And then I don't think there's much behind Maxima than that. She's a bit more powerful than the others and loves a good scrap. She should be in the Vikings.
She absolutely should. Yeah, she definitely is one of the what do they call them? The Shield Maidens.
She is. He was like, "Oh, can you take him to the hospital?" No, I'm in a fight, mate. He's going to die with honor.
I'm getting back into this. Yeah. But you're absolutely right. Just to jump in, so Superman at this time, I think this may even still be the case, had 4 active titles in a month, so one a week over a month. You had Superman, the main Superman, the Man of Steel, Superman in Action Comics, and The Adventures of Superman, with the 4 main titles, and then Justice League of America, which featured Superman as well. And so you're right, this collected edition was maybe 5 or 6 issues across, like one Man of Steel, one Justice League of America, you know what I mean, in a row. Yeah.
So that was cool. I like that. The questions I had for you, which I asked you before we started recording, was that I didn't really know who Doomsday was, but I wasn't supposed to. So that was good. So he just appeared out of nowhere, which was cool. And that was something that was their intention for the kind of shock value you were saying.
So we do find out later down the line, as the mystery gets further explored, who Doomsday is and what the backstory of Doomsday is. But for all intents and purposes, the point at which you've joined the story is the point that everybody first joined the Doomsday. Like, who's this guy? What's he all about? And they'd marketed very heavily that this big event was coming up, and lots of will he die, won't he die kind of single page ads. And at the time, I seem to recall, at the time, I mean, we were buying magazines about comic books. It wasn't like going on the internet and speculating. It was very much a case of, is this finally the time that Lex Luthor will get the better as Superman? Is it going to be, which classic villain could it possibly be? And so I think to circumvent that, and as you say, to have a bit of shock factor, they just dropped a whole new thing in. And it works. I think it kind of works. That it is just a rampaging beast. Doomsday is just a rampaging, angry thing that just wants to fight and destroy.
Yeah, he's got a purpose. He's going somewhere, but we don't know where. But he's making a beeline, I think, for Megatropolis. Is that where Superman comes? Metropolis. I like the artwork. Well, I like some big kind of panel artwork intermixed with a lot of the kind of standard DC minimal use of color kind of pages. But there's a few big pictures, big kind of full page ones of Doomsday and Superman in various stages of fighting, which are cool and a bit more detailed, which is quite cool. You could imagine like taking one of those pictures out and using it like as a poster on your wall or in a Dice Masters card or something.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the really famous one is that final shot of the rubble and the destroyed metropolis and the torn up Superman cape flapping in the wind off a piece of rebar. That's the famous image. In fact, that final stretch, which is Superman issue 75 when it was originally published, is notable because that whole issue was just those single page images.
That's cool.
Yeah,
That's very, very cool.
To kind of mark the event.
Indeed. So yeah, it's good. I enjoyed it.
There we go. Excellent.
There was the other questions I had was about because Lex Luthor and Supergirl, Superwoman, one of the two. Was it Supergirl or Superwoman?
Supergirl, I think, at this point.
And Lex Luthor's got a ginger beard and hair.
Yeah, that's Lex Luthor 2, who is Lex Luthor's son, but it's not his son, it's actually his clone with his consciousness in it. It's a whole thing.
It's the thing, which is weird because it was like, who is that? I don't get it. He's not bald. Can't be Lex Luthor. Oh, it is Lex Luthor. But, he looks more like, Richard Branson.
Yeah, bold Lex Luthor, proper normal Lex Luthor fakes his, if I remember right, he fakes his death so that he can then introduce himself as his own son in this cloned body, Lex Luthor 2, who is then has a different agenda to his father and is much nicer. But secretly, he's really Lex Luthor, still getting up to no good. He's just done it to have an image rehaul.
And also, Supergirl is actually an alien and not Supergirl, but is Supergirl.
Yeah, shape-changing alien that took on the persona of Supergirl.
Obviously.
Yeah, of course.
Controversially, I think that Jesse Eisenberg made a brilliant Lex Luthor.
Ooh, interesting.
I thought it was really good, which was in Superman. First, I forget the films. There's 2 Superman movies. Superman and then Batman versus Superman, and he's in both.
That's right. Yeah.
And that's another one that they'll just push by the wayside. And that, I think he's. I'm pretty sure he's had critics, and a lot of people are like, he's not very good as Lex Luthor. But I think it worked. Obviously, he's never going to be like a massive tank of a bloke because he's a little scrawny guy.
Yeah.
And I think Lex Luthor is mostly like quite big.
No, not really. He is the character. Like, if you boil him down to his bare essence, is about genius, like evil genius, intellect, and money.
Right.
So to fight Superman, he builds himself this amazing power suit thing, which you might have seen. It's like green and purple.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
So he's like a evil Batman.
Kinda, in a way, yeah.
Or evil Iron Man.
Yeah, in a way, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I really liked his portrayal of Lex Luthor. And do you know when you feel that there's something building up and it's going to get better and better, and then again, it looks like that's not going to happen anymore. He only just lost his hair.
Yeah, he just kind of took it he just did his own spin on it, didn't he?
Yeah.
He was more kind of manic and furtive and energetic, wasn't he?
Yeah, and mental. I like him. I like him in Zombieland as well.
Yeah, he's very good in Zombieland. He's also very good in The Social Network, the film about.
Oh, I've not seen that one.
Mark Zuckerberg. Written and directed by Aaron Sorkin.
And Aaron Sorkin did other stuff as well that we've talked about.
He did, that's right. Can you remember any of the things? I was talking about The Trial of the Chicago 7, I think is where he came up.
Okay. Oh, and The West Wing.
He does, yeah, that's right.
I've never seen that.
Very good. Very good.
Is it, though?
Yeah, it's the highest number of BAFTAs for a television show, highest number of Golden Globes for a television show ever won.
Isn't it not like just American Yes Prime Minister?
No, absolutely not.
It's all serious and politicky and...
Well, it is a serious show, but it does have moments of comedy and levity.
Does it? As much as Yes, Prime Minister?
No.
There you go. That was a good series, wasn't it? I should bring that up. I should make you watch them.
The frightening thing about Yes, Prime Minister is how much of that stuff they were lampooning remains true 25 years later.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, one thing that I didn't mention in the Back to the Future, Libyan terrorists.
Oh, everyone loves a generic Libyan terrorist.
Sure, but again, that when was this film made? In 1983? And here we are now in 2020, still dealing with, Libyan terrorists. The more things change, the more they stay the same.
I like that they're in a VW camper van.
Yeah, that's good. And also, what's going on with his AK? You know what I mean? Jesus, man.
Yeah, I know, right? You can't shoot for shit.
Guess to clean your gun, dude. You're going to rely on it so much.
But
You're in America. There's like a gun range on every corner.
You could have picked up a nice new M16.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Just go to a state with a conceal and carry license. You only have to fill a form in. Anyway, so yeah, Death of Superman. There you go. Big action set piece, massive event in the mid-90s. I mean, it was huge, absolutely huge.
I could imagine that it would be, and they proper promoted the hell out of it.
Yeah, it really was a kind of a golden age, although it's not the golden age. But it was an absolute pinnacle kind of comic book. There was loads going on. I mean, Nightfall, which you've read, was roughly around the same time. That was going on around then. Loads of big events in Marvel as well were taking place at this point. It was just like tons of these great comic book titles, and it was also some of those kind of more mature reader stuff that I was telling you about was getting started, like the Sandman and John Constantine and things. So there's just loads of really great stuff going on in comic books at the time, and this was another huge event. I mean, the implications of this went on literally for years after the actual final event.
Did it? I see it a bit like The Empire Strikes Back, because The Empire Strikes Back, at the end of The Empire Strikes Back, our heroes are in a terrible position, and then the story then after is how they overcome. And I've got no idea how I'm pretty sure Superman is still going. They're not going to kill off one of the, I might be wrong, most lucrative characters in their arsenal.
I don't think it would surprise anyone to know that he gets resurrected and comes back.
Obviously.
Well, there's 4 Supermen that turn up to backfill the role.
What?
Yeah, so there's in Superman Man of Steel title, it's John Henry Irons, who is now known as Steel.
Right.
Who is a bit of an Iron Man character with a big sledgehammer, who builds himself a super suit. Then in Superman, there's a kind of like a Kryptonian resurrected version of Superman that's come out of some special Kryptonian science stuff that's hanging around in the Fortress of Solitude. Although there's more to that story, called the Eradicator, who's like this really cold, heartless version of Superman. Then there's a Superman cyborg that turns up, obviously, who runs in the Adventures of Superman. And then there's a new Superboy that rocks up as well.
Oh, the one from Teen Titans?
Yeah, but no. There's another Superboy before that one. You're thinking of Connor Kent.
I am.
Yeah, but this was a clone of Superman.
Ooh.
Made by Cadmus, which is like a science lab who explore the extraordinary in Metropolis. That
sounds a lot like the storyline from Titans with Connor Kent, though, because he was from a lab, wasn't he?
He was, yeah, although that's... yeah, actually, he was. And in fact, the comic book version of him was as well.
He's half Superman, half Lex Luthor.
Yeah. So you had all those 4 storylines going on, and then the real Superman comes back, and various things happen. But because it's comic book land, like you're thinking about it in the kind of Empire Strikes Back way of, it's the dark middle act.
Yeah.
Because it's in comic book land where it continues, they sort of start to wrap up the Superman storyline, but the conclusion of his storyline there initiated a whole thing in the world of Green Lantern. There was a whole Green Lantern thing that kicked off as a result of it.
So,
which then eventually, ultimately, like stuff going on today still ties back to the events of that stuff in the 90s, because the War of Light stuff is all connected, like the parallax, and it's all connected to to what happened in Coast City, which happened as a result of the death of Superman.
So what you're saying is that the DC writers are incredibly skilled at interweaving storylines in and out of each other. Yet when it comes to movies, they really struggle to link.
Yeah. There's a complete mismatch. Absolutely.
Yeah. When it comes to movies and TV shows, they have got two different flashes at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely. That's that mismatch is a fair observation.
Whereas the comics, they've got it nailed, and they like still referring back. I get that. That's
yeah.
That's
right, well, there we go.
That's a good old now, isn't it?
Yeah, we'll wrap it up there. This is once again becoming a super long episode, so I'll give you something for next time around. So I don't know if you've seen, there's a new superhero series starting on Netflix called Jupiter's Legacy.
I have not. Netflix, you say?
Netflix, indeed. It's based on a comic book written by Mark Miller and drawn by Frank Quitely.
Shh.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's Quitely.
Quite.
Not quietly.
Shh.
Quietly. Yeah. Who you'll be very familiar with by now as one of my favourites.
Indeed.
So let's take a look at the first volume of Jupiter's Legacy, because I know how you like to get ahead of the curve on the TV stuff.
Nice. Is the TV stuff, is a question, is it all coming out at once, or are they going to drip feed it to us like the rest?
Oh, God, I have no idea. The trailer already came out yesterday.
Oh, okay. So it's not, is it coming out soon, or?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know. Probably.
Cool. So we could link it in together, couldn't we?
Yeah, I'd have to check with it. In fact, I'm sat at a computer right now. Let's have a look, shall we?
A computer?
Jupiter's Legacy, Netflix. Yeah, official trailer 1 day ago. It's starting on the 7th of May.
Oh, okay. Well, let's talk about that when it comes. Let's do the comic, but let's get ourselves prepared, folks, for the series. I am in no doubt that they are going to drip feed it to us. So we'll have another moan about that come the 7th of May.
Yes, we could have a good old moan about it. It doesn't say anything. It just says the series is set to premiere on May the 7th.
They're definitely going to.
Yeah. Yeah, it's because they haven't got enough stuff to keep us going. It'll all get better. All right, let's wrap that up. This is going to take a lifetime to edit.
Okay.
It's a good thing we've recorded it early.
Nice.
So, Jupiter's Legacy next time around.
Cool.
Well, there we are then, folks. As all things must, this episode of ModXtra has come to an end. We hope you enjoyed listening as much as we enjoyed recording it.
And we did.
And we did indeed. So, quick reminder then, it's Jupiter's Legacy in the comic book corner, and it's Pulp Fiction in Andy's retro corner. Again, to those limited 20 people who are still sticking it out with us, let us know, do we break this down more? Do we make it shorter? Do you want us to go back to doing the movie, the comic book, and a silly segment at the end? Do you want us to do more with the TV stuff? Do you want the specials? You know, we're still feeling our way through and trying to put it together in a way that works for you, dear listener. So get in touch or give us a comment in the comments below so we can get a sense of what you're looking for. I've got a suspicion things will pick up when we do finally get around to going like proper podcast, not vodcast.
Proper podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to think so. But I do appreciate the people who do listen to us on YouTube. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. We recognise it's not practically always the best way to consume this sort of thing. So we love you, folks, and appreciate you. Thank you very, very much.
If you want more of that love, you can go to our Discord and we will pour all over you. If you want to have our love poured over you, you can go to the Facebook page, ModXtraCast, and look for the link for our Discord. Why not follow the page whilst you're there?
Yeah, it'll be in the description as well.
It'll be in the description as well. And if you're on this YouTube channel already and you've not subscribed, well, gosh dang it, why don't you do that now and hit the notification bell so you know when our next episode's coming up, as well as all the other fun and random stuff we put on it. And if that all said and done, then do you like Dice Masters? If you do, then there's a whole world of podcasts and content that we can lead you towards. And you could go back to episode 1 of the MOD podcast and start from scratch. 95 hours. Best time you'll ever spend.
Absolutely. And keep an eye out for us on twitch.tv/MOD. Basically, you can't escape us. We're everywhere.
We're everywhere.
We're everywhere.
We're in your homes. We're in your attics. We're hiding under your bed.
We have our bike resting against the tree out the front of your house in the street, and we're on a branch with some binoculars.
And your dad's going to run us over.
Absolutely. And on that note, I'll say thanks for listening, stroke watching. I've been Chris, a.k.a. True Mr. Six.
And I've been Andy, a.k.a. Mrs. Mia Wallace.
See you later, folks.
Bye-bye. You can edit this bit out. Search. Is it? No, it's not on Disney Plus, is it? It's on Now TV. Boom, 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 boom. I watched it. I watched it today. So good. Sorry, I should have had this loaded up and ready.
It's all right. I'll cut all this out.
Now TV. Search. This iPad's getting slower and slower. As technology goes so flipping quick. Like this iPad was, it's only a few years old. And it's completely dog shit. My computer is only a few years old. It's completely dog shit.
Uh-huh.
What are you going to do? Right.